There are many fantastic things about our justice system, but one of the flaws, or faults, I suppose you could say, is that someone is only ever charged and sentenced to a crime that has been brought before the courts. So what happens when someone is known to be a very dangerous predator, but the charges in front of the courts don't justify putting them behind bars for life?
Are you going to tell me?
I'm going to tell you.
Oh, thank God. Okay.
In the mid to late 1990s, this is exactly what happened with a man named Peter Dupas.
Oh, I kind of know a little bit about this story, but not enough.
Well, get ready because this one is a very, very, very dark story.
Okay, I'm ready.
On April 19, 1999.
My birthday?
No, it's not.
No, it's not.
A woman named Rena went to visit her friend, 28-year-old Nicole Patterson. She went to her house in Northcote in Melbourne, Australia.
My surname?
Nope, it's not. At 7 p.m. to meet Nicole for dinner.
Okay.
So April 19, not your birthday, Patterson nor Northcote,
Okay.
your surname.
Oh, okay.
Rena rang the doorbell at Nicole's house, but no one answered. Nicole's dog barked madly from the backyard, but still nothing from inside. So Rena forced her way in. She saw lights on and the radio playing, but Nicole didn't answer when Rena called out to her. She went into the room Nicole used as her home office. She was a counsellor and a psychotherapist and had just set up an office to be able to work from home. She had been advertising in the local paper to be able to have clients come to her house as a one-on-one private practice.
Kind of a scary thing to do sometimes, isn't it? Like, I can imagine it would be a scary thing at times to just have people that you don't know coming to your house that you have a different relationship with, and it's a much deeper relationship.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you know, there are often mental health issues going on if they're coming to see a psychotherapist.
Yeah.
Well, Rena walked into the home office room and she found her friend Nicole lying on her back with her arms out to the side in a crucifix.
Oh, God.
Her top was pushed up and she was naked from the waist down.
Oh, my God.
She had what looked like an orange or yellow vest or T-shirt on. Rena checked her friend for vital signs, and it was only when she got close enough she realised she wasn't wearing an orange top at all. Nicole's breasts had been sawn off.
Oh, my God.
And it was the fatty tissue of her body that appeared to be an orange top.
Oh, she saw that, her friend. Oh, that's horrifying.
Nicole's breasts weren't found anywhere in Nicole's home.
Oh, my God. It's a horror film.
It is an absolute horror film and it just keeps going, Sammy, so strap in. Post-mortem found that Nicole had suffered 27 stab wounds.
27?
27.
Oh, my God.
And there were a further 13 defensive wounds to her body
So violent. Wow.
The brutality of Nicole's death shocked even the most seasoned homicide detectives. There were no signs of forced entry into the house, meaning the killer had likely been granted entry through the front door by Nicole.
Right.
There were also 2 coffee cups in the home office.
Oh,
So
sure.
someone
Could have
else
been a
had been
patient
there.
or something that had been there. Yeah.
Was it
Or a
someone
friend.
she knew? There were bloodstains around Nicole's house, but they seemed to be transfers, not from Nicole bleeding out or being anywhere else in the house.
Oh.
It means it looked like she was killed in the room where her body was found. But the presence of blood elsewhere meant the killer had spent time walking around the house, including into her bedroom, which is where her skirt was found. Now, the only thing anyone had seen nearby that day was that one neighbour noticed a small, stocky man with glasses walking quickly down the street.
Okay.
The 2 of these people made eye contact, but there was nothing else of note. 2 other neighbours later reported hearing screams coming from in or around Nicole Patterson's house sometime between 9 a.m. and 9:30 a.m.
Okay.
on the day of her murder. Attempts by Nicole's boyfriend that same day to contact her via the phone failed, which means he was suspicious, but there were no real concerns raised at that time. He just
Yeah.
later noted, I did try to call her a few times and she didn't answer.
And the screams were heard in like broad daylight in the morning.
Between 9 and 9:30 a.m. Isn't that terrifying?
Yeah.
The people that did report hearing these screams said that at the time they thought it was some kind of domestic situation, and they say they didn't come forward to police or anything at that time.
Right.
One potential clue for police investigating this scene came in the form of a note laying beside Nicole's home phone.
Oh.
It was in her handwriting, the name Malcolm and the word depression. Police took this to mean that Malcolm was a client of Nicole's.
Sure.
And she had in fact told friends that she had her very first at-home client that day at 9 a.m.
Oh, wow. Okay. Malcolm.
Police went looking for any more evidence of this man.
Looking for a man called Malcolm Depression?
That's right.
That's right,
Exactly.
yeah.
Your name and your birthday. Nicole's appointment book had a 9 a.m. appointment written down in it. The name Malcolm and a phone number listed next to Malcolm's name.
Oh, wow. Okay. That's a pretty good lead.
Yeah. This could be a very short episode, or will there be much more to go?
Oh, God, I don't know.
The phone number was traced to a 24-year-old international student named Harry. Harry had purchased the number after arriving in Melbourne about a month before Nicole's death.
Mm-hmm.
And he had had this number and this phone in his possession ever since. No one else had taken on the number. Police surveilled him and found nothing.
Oh.
He appeared to be nothing but a law-abiding, quiet student who raised no suspicions at all.
Not even his name as well. It's like, that's bizarre as well.
No, I mean, they knew who he was, but they found, like, when they were surveilling him, they found nothing that kind of stood out to make him seem like he might be a suspect.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they did know his name. I'm just calling him Harry.
I'll take that bit out because it got confusing.
Sorry.
No. No, it was mine going, oh, Malcolm. So it wasn't the name Malcolm, but it's, okay, I'll leave that.
Yeah.
Take that out. Simeon.
I'll just reword that bit then as well. So police surveilled Harry and found nothing of note.
Oh.
He appeared to be nothing but a law-abiding, quiet student who raised no suspicions at all. There was no reports he ever went by the name Malcolm. Outside of his studies, Harry was picking up some gardening and cleaning jobs to help pay for his studies. One of the contacts he'd been given for this work was a man named Peter. Mm-hmm. It was the closest link, really the only link, police had made at this point, because Nicole Patterson's phone records showed that in the weeks before her death, there had been 15 incoming calls to her from a number of a home phone in Pascoe Vale, also in Melbourne,
right,
that was registered to a man named Peter.
Okay.
Now, this was a small link, but all they had, the name Malcolm, a mobile number. That mobile number belonged to someone named Harry. Mm-hmm. Harry had been doing some work for a man named Peter. Mm-hmm. Someone named Peter had called Nicole Patterson's home 15 times in the week before her death.
15 times.
His name wasn't just Peter. His name was Peter Norris Dupas. So who was Peter Norris Dupas?
Will you tell me or do you want me to guess again?
I'd like you to guess. That's the rest of the episode.
Serial killer.
He was born on the 6th.
Damn it, got it wrong.
On the 6th of July, 1953. Peter was the youngest of 3 children born into what was described as a fairly normal family, though he was born in Sydney, but his family soon moved to Melbourne afterwards when he was just a toddler. His 2 older siblings were much older than him, so he was really brought up as an only child.
Okay.
Peter hated school. He was bullied for being short, for wearing glasses. No offence, Sammy.
That's okay.
And notably, which will come about if you make the link yourself, for being quite chubby, but he especially cared about the fact that he had quite a lot of fat on his chest area.
Right.
And his pecs looked like female
Oh,
breasts.
okay, sure. Yeah, right.
His kids would tease him about this, and he absolutely hated that people said he had boobs.
Wow.
He wasn't a strong or a violent kid. He had a few kind of scraps in the schoolyard, but he was quite a weak child and very quiet. Peter Dupas left high school upon completing grade 10.
Oh, okay, right. Dropped out at that time. Yep.
Yeah. He did go back and get his high school diploma.
Sure.
But that's unnecessary in this instance.
Great that you told it though. I like that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Now, while he was in grade 10, just before leaving school, on the 3rd of October 1968, when he was 15 years old, Dupas visited his next-door neighbour, requesting to borrow a knife to peel vegetables. Mm-hmm. The neighbour happily obliged. What a good kid to be helping his mum make dinner.
Sure.
As this neighbour named Anne handed Peter the knife, he lunged at her. He grabbed her hair and pulled her to the ground and slashed at her hands, her face and her neck.
Oh, my God.
She screamed for him to stop, and he said, "I can't stop now, Anne. It's too late. They'll lock me up."
Oh, what a terrifying thing to hear. It's too late.
From a 15-year-old kid that lives next door.
Oh.
But Anne kept screaming, and it did seem to spook Peter. He suddenly stopped, suddenly stopped, sat up, and just looked there and was looking at the knife.
Oh.
She wriggled away and talked him into returning the knife to her. Peter, still wearing his school uniform, begged her to call the police.
Begged her?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
He told police he could not help himself and he didn't know why he began to attack Anne.
Wow.
He said, quote, "As far as I'm concerned, there was no reason for me to do this. I assume I was trying to kill her."
Wow. This is terrifying.
This is a kid who has had no violence at school, nothing of the sort or even really leading up to it noted ever in his life before.
Wow.
Now, due to his age, Peter was placed on 18 months probation, which means he didn't do any time behind bars.
Right.
He was admitted to a psychiatric hospital for evaluation. Mm-hmm. He was released after 2 weeks and treated as an outpatient.
Right, okay.
So that was in 1968. In 1972, he had his second run-in with police. He was caught peeping through a window at a woman in the shower. He was fined $50.
That's it?
Yes.
Just $50? Yeah, right. Okay.
November 1973, Peter Dupas was questioned about a rape. 23-year-old woman named Caroline Barton was at home with her toddler son by herself when a man she didn't know knocked on her door. He said his car had broken down and asked to borrow a screwdriver to help fix it. When she went inside to get the screwdriver, he pushed her inside, closed the door, pulled out a knife from his pocket and grabbed her baby.
Grabbed her baby?
To make sure that she complied with what he did and said.
Oh, my God.
The man bound and sexually assaulted the woman. In the following 2 weeks, 2 other women reported a man also came to their home asking for a screwdriver for a broken down car. The first woman he stole money from. The second he left abruptly when she said her husband was almost home. All 3 women positively ID'd Peter Dupas and his car.
So he's got a record. He's got form. Police know about him. Right.
Keeps going, my love. A senior detective who interviewed Dupas about these crimes described him at the time as weak and compliant when confronted by authority. So as soon as he was spoken to by police, he was weak and compliant.
Right.
This detective said, quote, "He stood out. To me, the guy was pure evil. His attacks were all carefully planned and he showed no remorse. We could see where he was going. I remember thinking, this guy has the potential to go all the way. He's an unmitigated liar. He's a very dangerous young person who will continue to offend where females are concerned and will possibly cause the death of one of his victims if he is not straightened out."
Wow, they said that at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my God. And also, this is happening and it does seem quite planned for him to be going when he knows that they're alone as well.
He's also gone with a knife in his pocket. He hasn't used the screwdriver.
Yeah.
He's gone with a knife on all of these occasions. Now 20-year-old Peter Dupas was charged for these 3 attacks and put on trial. Well, these 3 home invasions, 1 attack, and put on trial. The judge described the rape as one of the worst offences of rape imaginable.
Oh, wow.
In July 1974, he was found guilty and sentenced to 9 years imprisonment with a minimum non-parole period of 5 years.
To be 29 years old if he served that full sentence?
Correct.
Thank you.
Your maths is better than mine, and I will always say that. After he was sentenced, a prison psychiatrist noted that Dupas was in constant denial of his criminal activity, remarking that, quote, I'm reasonably certain that this youth has a serious psychosexual problem, that he is using the technique of denial as a coping device, and that he is to be seen as potentially dangerous. The denial technique makes for a huge difficulty in treatment.
Wow. And so many people are saying this as well, that he's dangerous as well.
So the very first
and
one,
that,
the neighbour Anne, he said straight away, please call police. And he said to police, I don't know why I did this.
Yep.
But these 3 cases of going to the women's homes, he said that he didn't do it. He pleaded not guilty at trial. So this is what the prison psychiatrist has said of him. And he must have continued to deny it in prison, because this is the prison psychiatrist that gave this assessment. That said, he was a model prisoner, and he was released after serving 5 years.
5 years, wow.
His minimum non-parole.
Oh, God.
He was released then.
And people are saying he's dangerous. Like, this keeps going. Wow.
2 months after his release in 1979, Dupas again molested women in 4 separate attacks over a 10-day period in Frankston. This is where his parents had moved to when he was in prison, and where he moved to upon his release. 2 of the women were stalked, and 2 of them were raped. One of these women was an elderly lady. Peter Dupas admitted to all of these attacks as soon as he was questioned. He said he was glad he got caught, as he has a problem.
So he said this before, like this was the first attack. He even said, he was glad that he was, wow.
And this time he has said, oh, good, I'm glad I've got caught. I've got a problem and I need help.
Wow.
So rather than going for help, he's attacking people and waiting to get caught. A report that was given to the court in these cases stated, quote, there is little that can be said in Dupas's favour. He remains an extremely disturbed, immature and dangerous man. His release on parole was a mistake.
Yes,
So very strong. Like everyone speaking about him is very strong in their condemnation of him and his ability to be able to walk around as a free person.
Yeah, if he's released, he's just going to do the same thing again.
Yeah. For these attacks, he received a sentence of 6.5 years, again with 5-year non-parole period. Police and prosecutors were stunned, but this comes back to what I was saying in the intro of the charges that were put in front of him, in front of the court. This was the sentence that was offered. Peter Dupas was again released from prison after his minimum term was up. In February 1985, he was aged 31.
Wow.
Approximately, how long later do you think I'm going to say?
I think 1 month.
Approximately 1 month later.
Wow.
A 21-year-old woman was raped on a beach at Blackgowrie, which is on the Insular Peninsula of Victoria. Peter Dupas had followed this woman from her car down to the beach, striking up a conversation with her before attacking. Afterwards, he offered her a lift home.
Afterwards? Mm-hmm. Oh, my God.
He was caught as the woman ran off and called police, and they found him still in the car park of the beach.
Oh, my God.
He told police later on about this case. I'm sorry for what happened. Everyone was telling me I'm okay now. I never thought it was going to happen again. I only wanted to live a normal life.
Oh, my God.
So he's really saying, I can't help this.
Yep.
I don't know why I'm doing it. I can't help it.
Yeah.
On the 28th of June that year, 1985, Dupas was sentenced to 12 years imprisonment for the Blackgowrie rape.
Wow. Okay.
So
looking at his crimes probably, all of them and going, he needs 12 years. Yeah.
The sentencing judge said the sentencing judge said that Dupas was walking around with a loaded time bomb in his pocket. If he was free and not rehabilitated, he would attack again.
Yes. Yeah.
So he sentenced him to 12 years for that crime, and has, kind of hoped that time in prison he can get the medical care or psychotherapy or rehabilitation that he needs. A psychotherapist named Grace McConnell was a mental health nurse at the prison that he was in, which I believe was Pentridge at this time. She was tasked with helping Dupas with his rehabilitation and hopeful recovery. She said, again, he was a model prisoner. He never caused trouble and he very much kept to himself. Over time of working with Grace McConnell, Peter Dupas developed an infatuation with her. And he told her after a while that he had fallen in love with her. He said that with her help, he could come out of himself and be a normal person. She pitied him and she wanted to help him become a better person. After treating him for 2 years, Dupas proposed
What?
to Grace McConnell. 16 years his senior, she agreed.
What?
From, quote, a sense of responsibility to helping him become a useful member of the community.
That's a weird use of that. to be,
it's like she thought, this is part of his, well, maybe not even I can fix him, but this will help him if he's seeing himself as a normal, quote unquote, member of society. He's fallen in love. He's got a woman who he respects. He's married. This might be able to help him.
Yeah,
he has said, I want to become a better member of society. I want to become a better person. And she's thought, this is his way of wanting to do that. I
will marry you.
I will marry you.
Wow.
Yes, I'll marry you. And that's how I plan to propose to you, Sammy
Thank
Peterson.
you for saying that.
Grace said their relationship was much more a mother and son than husband and wife. They married in jail in 1988.
They actually got married?
Yeah.
Oh,
and
wow.
he was actually moved, between this time, he was moved from Pentridge Prison to Castlemaine, which is in regional Victoria, and he applied for her to be transferred with him. She did actually note afterwards that she did think at the time that this was a method of control, but again, she went along with it and she married him in the Castlemaine prison in 1988. Dupas used his marriage to Grace as a reason to be given parole. That when he went up for parole the first time, he said, I'm married now, I'm married to a psychotherapist, she's helping me, you can see that I'm reformed. And it worked. He was released in 1992 after serving 7 years of his 12-year sentence.
Wow. She took her work home with her.
Quite literally.
That's wild.
Isn't it?
7 years again, when this judge has just gone, he needs, 12 years and has kind of made this a point.
That said, the judge also imposed a non-parole period of 7 years.
It
hasn't been a minimum of 12.
Yeah, sure, okay. The parole period just doesn't make sense. You'd release him after that, but I'm guessing we're hearing more.
Less than 2 years after his release, this time, Dupas was arrested once again, this time on charges of false imprisonment over an incident at Lake Epilogue. Wearing a hood and armed with a knife, insulation tape and handcuffs, Dupas followed a woman who was picnicking and held her at knife point in a toilet block. He was eventually chased off by her friends. She said she knew she was about to be raped before he ran off.
Oh my God, terrifying.
As he was leaving the scene, he crashed his car and was apprehended by police. He pleaded guilty to this, which is the first time he's pleaded guilty.
Wow. And
was sent, that might be incorrect.
Yeah,
certainly, the earlier ones, he pleaded not guilty because there was a trial. Mm-hmm. He was sentenced to 3 years and 9 months with a minimum period of 2 years and 9 months. Again, this comes back to what I said at the very, very start. This charge was for false imprisonment. Now, interestingly, there had been a law change in Victoria since his first imprisonment, the most recent term of imprisonment, and him being sentenced this time. There had been a law change that you could impose higher non-parole periods on people whose crimes had been deemed a very serious sexual nature.
Right.
But this charge was for false imprisonment. Mm-hmm. It's like because he didn't get to rape this woman, and that's such a horrendous sentence, but I mean his plan was to do so, but he was scared off first. Had he carried that out, he could have been jailed for a lot longer. Obviously, it is good that he didn't for this woman, obviously.
Yeah. But
because the charge was that of false imprisonment, 3 years and 9 months is a pretty long sentence for that charge.
Just doesn't feel like anything, does it? Like compared to the others.
No, but this is the thing. So I said about the justice system, and you can't I was going to say you can't in a trial bring up past things, but he pleaded guilty. So but this was still the charge in front of him, and it was after the offence was after his parole had ended. So it wasn't that he'd committed an offence while on parole even.
Yeah,
He was
yeah.
good, quote unquote, enough to wait for the parole period to end before he committed another crime. So, you know, there is a serious level of premeditation there. His wife divorced him and his parents became estranged, no longer supporting him.
Wow.
In September 1996, Dupas was again released from prison after serving 2 years. When he was released, he moved into a house in the Melbourne suburb of Pascoe Vale. It was 3 years later that Peter Norris Dupas ended up arrested for the murder of Nicole Patterson. And if you're all listening to this thinking this is going to be a very short episode, I will tell you we're about a third of the way.
Oh, wow.
Buckle in. So we're back to Nicole Patterson. After finding Peter Dupas's number in Nicole's phone, he was spoken to by police. They noted at the time he had scratches on his face and hands that were consistent with fingernails.
Oh, sure.
They placed him under arrest straight away. A police search of his home revealed blood-stained clothing, PVC tape similar to that was located at the crime scene, a ski mask, newspaper clippings detailing Patterson's murder, one of which had the picture of Nicole's face scratched out.
Oh, my God.
Also, they found a newspaper containing her advertisement for her psychotherapy services.
Wow.
It's believed the phone calls he had made to her in the weeks prior. Remember, there were 15 phone calls that he'd made to her number. It's believed they were made to establish her vulnerability and get to a point where Nicole would allow him to come into her home for a psychotherapy session.
Right.
He had claimed he had depression and a gambling addiction and, as we know, used the name Malcolm. He wasn't smart enough to not call from his phone.
Yeah,
but gave a fake number and gave a fake name and gave a fake number. He's obviously got, so this is where this international student Harry comes into it.
Yep.
He was working with Harry, or Harry was working with him doing some gardening work, so he had Harry's phone number.
Yep.
And that's a number that he had
too.
that he could put down when he was called and said his name was Malcolm.
Yep.
Like in 1999, 99, there weren't, you know, you didn't have call ID on your phone. You could see what number was calling.
Yeah, yeah.
Peter Dupas was charged with Nicole Patterson's murder. He pleaded not guilty, meaning that 12 jury members had to sit through the horrifying evidence in a trial.
Oh, wow.
His defence was that police had planted the blood that was found in his apartment.
Planted the blood?
Yeah, they took a vial of his blood and planted it on his clothes, which, you know, they always do.
They always do.
As we know. He said he really did have a gambling problem. That's why he had called Nicole about therapy sessions. He said he never went, though, and he said he used a fake name because he didn't want his girlfriend to know that he had a gambling problem and needed help.
Right.
Now, there is no evidence that he had a girlfriend at the time at all.
Yeah.
He also says that police planted the evidence of in the notebook, in her appointment book, the name Malcolm at 9 a.m. on that day.
Right.
He said they wrote that in there themselves to go, oh, look, it was this guy that was there at 9 o'clock that day.
Right.
When he was asked during the trial what he had done with the trophies he had taken, he said he had no idea what they meant. The trophies, of course, were Nicole's breasts.
Yeah.
They have never been found.
Oh, my God.
A jury of 12 took under 3 hours to find him guilty of Nicole Patterson's murder. On the 22nd of August 2000, while sentencing Dupas to life imprisonment without the opportunity of parole, Judge Frank Vincent said, "The prospects of your eventual rehabilitation must be regarded as so close to hopeless that they can be effectively discounted. There is no indication whatsoever that you have experienced any sense of remorse for what you have done, and I doubt that you are capable of any such human response.
Wow.
At a fundamental level, as human beings, you present for us the awful, threatening and unanswerable question, how did you come to be as you are?" That I have never heard sentencing remarks that strong. I don't think I ever have. Dupas appeared in the Supreme Court of Victoria in the Court of Appeal in August 2001 to appeal his conviction for the murder of Patterson. The appeal was dismissed. But my dear, dear Sammy Peterson, this is not where our story ends. I'll ask you one question. Do you think Nicole's murder, in all its violent brutality and premeditation, would be the only thing he would have done in the 3 years after being released from prison?
No, absolutely not.
Neither did police. I'm going to take you back to October 4, 1997.
Mm-hmm.
So Nicole Patterson was killed in 1999.
Yep, okay.
Pensioners Ronald and Muriel McDonald were driving down Clifford's Road in Somerton in Melbourne.
Mm-hmm.
They stopped at an area that was used as an illegal dump site on this road. They would drive this way to see if anything had been dumped that could be worth them keeping or selling. On this day, Ronald McDonald. Oh my God, I hadn't said. I don't know.
Have you written Ronald McDonald?
No, I've written he, but then I was like, I'll say his name because their names are Ronald and Muriel McDonald. Oh no, we can't laugh. This is such an awful story. There's nothing funny about this story, but I regret not realising beforehand.
Ronald McDonald.
McDonald. On this day, Mr. McDonald lifted a sheet of cardboard when he was looking for things in this dump site and found a store mannequin. Until he noticed this mannequin had rings on its fingers.
Oh, my God.
A bracelet and tattoos.
Oh.
It was not a mannequin. This woman's pants were down and her top had been pushed up. It was a middle-aged woman with bleach blonde hair. Ronald called the police. They identified the body as that of a middle-aged woman, sorry. She had a large wound on her chest and noticed something. This whole episode has a trigger warning.
Yeah.
I'm going to give a trigger warning here. She had something poking out of her lips. It was her left breast.
Oh, my God.
She had bruising and stab wounds across her neck and abdomen and a serious wound to her head that looked like she'd been hit over the head before being stabbed. Her left wrist had a very deep incision. Her neck had marks consistent with strangulation. Her injuries were so severe and there were so many, her exact cause of death couldn't be determined.
Oh, my God, how horrific. And to find this as well.
Oh, that poor man.
Yeah.
Her breast the breast that had been removed had been cut off post-mortem, they found, seemingly with a jagged-edged knife.
Oh, my God.
The victim was formally identified as 40-year-old Margaret Marr. She lived in Craigieburn, which was right near Somerton, and was known to police. She had lived a normal life until she became addicted to heroin.
Oh, wow.
From there, she went on to become a sex worker and became involved with police, arrested for a number of different crimes over the years. An autopsy revealed that she had been killed elsewhere and brought to this dump site in Somerton in the early hours of the day she was found. Her last known movements were that on October 3, so the night before she was found, she'd left home at 7 p.m. to visit a news agency. Her teenage daughter had left home by the time she got back and had taken the keys, so Margaret couldn't get back in. At 7:45, she was seen hitchhiking, which she often did. At 8:05 p.m, she entered a pharmacy and then a shopping centre in Broadmeadows. At around midnight, she was seen at this Broadmeadows shopping centre in the car park, and after that, she was never seen again until her body turned up the next day. A single black woolen glove was found next to her body. It was tested, but nothing significant was found. Until we're now jumping back to 1999 when Nicole Patterson was found.
Yep, sure.
Police had their suspicions this could have been the same killer based on the similarities with their breasts being removed. After Nicole killer was sentenced, police retested the glove found at the scene of Margaret Marr.
Yeah, wow.
And guess whose DNA pinged in the system? Now, this was not poor police work by them not testing it before. When it was originally tested, the DNA wasn't to the level that, so obviously Peter Dupas's DNA was in the system, or fingerprints were in the system from all these crimes he's committed before, but the DNA testing wasn't to a level when it was initially
Yeah,
tested
sure.
in 1997 to be able to link it to him then.
And were they able to, like when they kind of went through the trial and everything, did they kind of go, this sounds very similar to that crime back then?
Yes.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah,
sure.
obviously that didn't come up in the crime.
No,
but
no.
police this whole
Yep.
time were thinking that.
Yep.
They were focused on getting him behind bars for Nicole Patterson and then went, right, we're going to get this guy
Wow.
for Margaret Marr. Despite already being in jail for life without the chance of release, Peter Dupas denied any involvement in Margaret Marr's death when he was questioned. But that didn't matter to police. He was charged with his second count of murder.
Thank God.
During a trial that lasted 3 weeks in 2004, evidence was presented to the jury that the removal of both Nicole and Margaret's breasts were so strikingly similar as to be a signature or a trademark stamp common to both crimes,
Yeah.
thereby identifying Dupas as the killer of both of them. Now, the jury, of course, was not told that Dupas was already in prison for life on another murder. You're not
Right.
allowed to be told
Okay.
in any case before a court, before a jury, they're not allowed to know about any previous criminal
I didn't
history
know that.
at all. It's for the presumption of innocence
Yeah,
until proven guilty.
sure.
This said, it took them less than a day to convict him of his second murder conviction.
Wow.
He was asked in court if there's any reason he shouldn't be sentenced. He claimed, yes, it's a kangaroo court. Kangaroo
that mean?
court means like it's a bogus. He's saying, oh, this is all set up and it doesn't mean anything. It's a bit like sovereign citizen
Yeah,
we were talking about with the Desi
sure.
Freeman case.
Yeah, not actual kangaroos in court.
Not actual kangaroos
That
in
would be,
court. I don't
I'm going to
believe.
TM, because that's a good Bluey idea. A new Bluey idea that could make us
that's
millions.
very good.
Yep.
I didn't look into the history of the saying as well.
No,
It
it's
may be
interesting.
that. He was sentenced to a second life
Wow.
sentence without the possibility of parole. Now, of course, it didn't matter in terms of how long he would spend in prison,
No.
but it mattered very much, of course, to
Oh,
serving
of
justice
course.
and for Margaret Marr's loved ones.
Yeah.
And also for Nicole Patterson's. Her family members cheered and applauded in the court when the guilty verdict was read. Nicole Patterson's sister described Dupas after he was in charge for for Margaret's murder as well. She described him as the most evil predator, a psychopath, cunning, repulsive person. It is such a rare evil that comes into this world that's destroyed these women and our lives. We're just praying that this man is held accountable for everything he has done.
Yeah.
But Sammy, police were not done with Peter Dupas because for 7 years at this point, police had also been convinced Dupas was responsible for another murder.
Wow.
In October 1997,
Mm-hmm.
about a 15-minute drive south of where Margaret Marr's body was is Faulkner Cemetery. A woman was there doing research on her family tree one day. She noticed a small man with glasses and a bowl cut staring at her. She looked up and smiled at him, but he didn't smile back. She walked to another plot and looked up to see that the man had followed her there and he was still staring. She moved on to another section of the cemetery and she heard something. It was the man coming directly towards her with what she described as a scary look.
Oh my God, terrifying.
She stood up and put her hand out in a stop sign and stepped backwards. She yelled out and it startled him. He walked away, but he didn't leave the cemetery. She saw his feet hidden under a bush, and when she saw this, she ran, jumping over gravesites back towards her car where her husband was waiting. They both came back to confront the man, but he was nowhere to be seen. This woman refused to go back to the gravesite, to the cemetery ever, giving up on her research altogether. The same month, October 1997, many women reported similar experiences. No one saw any weapons, but many of the women noted he always had at least one hand in his pocket. On November 1, a woman named Lima was tending to the cemetery when a man approached with his hands in both pockets. He asked what was behind a bush nearby. She sensed something odd and felt that he was trying to get her to turn her back on him, and she didn't want to do so. So she didn't, and she walked away. This man was spotted multiple times the same day, on November 1. Just before 4 p.m. that day, a woman's scream rang out from the cemetery. Another scream rang out about a minute later, followed by quieter screams, and then eventually quiet moaning. At 6:45 p.m. that night, Angelo Gordeski returned home from work to find his house empty. His fiancée, 25-year-old Messina Halvargas, would usually have been home by now. They had dinner plans that night, so when she still didn't turn up after a while, he became increasingly worried. He knew that she would have been to the Faulkner Cemetery that day. She did fortnightly to visit her grandmother's grave. He went to the cemetery at 4:30 a.m. to see if he could find her, and he found her car in the car park locked. It was empty. He called police, who came to search the area for Messina. Lying between two headstones, not far from her grandmother's grave, and only 40 metres from the car park, was Messina Halvargas's body. She had been stabbed multiple times. The ground and the headstones around her were covered in blood.
Oh, my God.
Flowers scattered across the scene matched the flowers Angelo said she would have taken with her to lay on her grandmother's grave. Her glasses and shoes had been thrown off her at some point, indicating a frenzied attack.
Oh, my God.
Her clothing was pulled up over her head. Injuries to her hands showed she'd tried to fight the attacker. She had a total of 85 stab wounds.
85?
To her neck, stomach, and her limbs.
Oh, that's horrific.
She had severe wounds on her chest and breasts.
Such anger.
85.
Oh, my God.
Messina worked for a bank. She had a close family with no known enemies and had never expressed any fear nor concern. She was known as extremely quiet and extremely kind. The entire cemetery and nearby creek bed was searched and thoroughly examined. Police found cigarette butts and tyre tracks, but nothing gave away any identification of Messina's attacker. Her father, George Halvargas, fronted the press asking for help to find her killer. He said, "Every day is misery in our house. There has to be someone who knows or suspects something. It's not going to make me feel better, but at least we would know who did it." Now, George Halvargas is an absolutely wonderful man. He has gone on to become a huge advocate for victims' rights, for making sure that murderers do not go uncaught. He's a fantastic man. I've been lucky enough to meet him through my work, and he's just a fantastic person. People who'd been at the cemetery that day came forward to report that they'd heard screams and the creepy man looking around. That's how we know about all of that I'd said before. Frighteningly, all these reports made police believe that Messina's killer hadn't acted on a whim or in some sort of frenzy, but that he had stalked women and hidden all day until he found or decided upon his victim. It was just lucky for the other people there that day that it hadn't been them. Police created a photo fit based on what other people in the cemetery had said they'd seen, and they published it in the media along with a $1 million reward offering, which is the most that
huge.
Can be offered.
I don't mean that's just a huge amount of money.
Yes.
That's a huge thing.
It is a huge thing.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's huge.
That's huge. But it is as well. This brought up, the reward offering and the photo fit brought up 400 leads and led police to interviewing 1,500 people.
Oh, my God.
A number of suspects came about from this and were interviewed, but no arrests were made. While all of this was happening, the investigation into Margaret Marr's murder was also going on, but had gone cold. And Messina Halvargas' death was 18 months before Nicole Patterson's.
Wow.
Police had long suspected Peter Dupas of Messina's murder. His home in Pascoe Vale was very close to the cemetery. An elderly resident of Pascoe Vale claims he saw Dupas leaving the Faulkner Cemetery on the day of the murder. An anonymous female who was visiting her parents' grave on the day of the murder had also seen Dupas wearing sunglasses and casually jogging throughout the cemetery. She had actually identified him.
Wow, okay.
An inquest was ordered into Messina Halvargas' death in 2006.
Oh,
So
wow.
even though police have suspected him for so long,
Yep.
there was no concrete evidence. There were just people
Placing him
saying
there.
they saw him there at the time. There was no physical evidence.
Yeah.
They couldn't do anything more than placing him there on the day, and that it's far too circumstantial to lay any charges.
Sure.
So an inquest was ordered into Messina's death. It was essentially an examination into Peter Norris Dupas as the prime suspect. They weren't looking for any information. The inquest was to see if they had enough evidence to charge him.
Yeah.
A lot came up throughout this inquest, of course. There was all the evidence of people who had seen a man looking like Peter Dupas. There was the woman who had identified him, the man who had identified him as leaving the cemetery that day.
Yeah.
But examination and this inquest didn't bring up enough evidence. There was no compelling forensic evidence. There were no eyewitnesses to the murder itself. He was not seen with any blood on him, and there was no confession. The coroner who ordered the inquest said there was simply not enough evidence to lay any charges. But a year later, in the most unlikely manner, from the most unlikely source, some evidence finally came forward. Andrew Fraser was a high-flying lawyer who came crashing to earth because of an addiction to cocaine. I'm not going to go into any more of this here because this is one of my favourite stories in the world and I'm going to cover it at some point.
Oh, okay. Right.
But a lawyer named Andrew Fraser ended up in jail because of an addiction to cocaine. He was in the same unit as one Peter Dupas.
Wow.
Now, Dupas had become an accomplished gardener at the jail. He tended to the vegetable patch. Andrew Fraser, who was an athlete when he was young, was determined to regain his former fitness while he was in prison and trained outdoors daily. One day in 2002, Peter Dupas grabbed his opportunity to walk with the trained lawyer and ask him some questions about the law.
Sure.
He then later started to treat Andrew Fraser as his kind of private lawyer. They would walk and talk. He wouldn't give up anything. He wouldn't talk about his cases, but he'd just kind of be talking about things.
Yeah,
and over
hypotheticals.
Time,
and
and over time, Peter Dupas became a bit softer and a bit more trusting of Andrew Fraser. Eventually, he began to talk about Messina Halvarges.
Wow.
Andrew Fraser says he once found a homemade knife concealed among weeds at the prison that they were both at, and he called Dupas over to inspect it. At this time...
Homemade knife in the prison.
Yeah, so like a shiv.
Oh, sure.
And he's gone, oh my God, Peter, come and look at this.
Yeah.
This is when he says the confession occurred. Andrew Fraser said, "We regularly used to find stuff hidden in the garden, drugs, weapons and other stuff. I once found a homemade knife and called Dupas over to show him. He took it off me and started handling it, almost caressing it in a sexual way. He then started saying, Messina, Messina,
Oh my God.
over and over with a strange look on his face. I was certainly left in no doubt that Dupas had murdered Messina Halvarges. This is still the quote. This wasn't some sort of jailhouse confession where somebody has gone in and sat in a cell one night and had a brew with another prisoner and somebody has allegedly said something. It's a lot stranger than that. Dupas and I spoke regularly, just the two of us. This was over months and months that he was talking to me and eventually started confiding in me. There was also one occasion when another prisoner came up to us when we were gardening and started abusing Dupas. This prisoner was yelling at Dupas saying, you killed Messina. After he had gone, Dupas turned to me and said, how does that, C-U-N-T? No, I did it.
What was that word that you spelled out?
See you next Tuesday.
Okay. Wow. So someone in the prison knew.
Yeah.
Wow.
I believe it was actually a cousin of Messina's.
Oh,
I
okay,
saw this reported a few times while I was looking into this case. I don't know that for sure, but it was reported in one place that it was her cousin.
Wow.
So and he was very, very, very widely the prime and only suspect.
Sure.
So yeah, when this guy said you killed Messina, Dupas turned to Fraser and said, how does this C-bomb? No, I did it.
Yeah, wow.
After this and after the creepy Messina with the knife, Andrew Fraser, being a lawyer, of course, he knows how the law works, he called police and he sang like a bird.
Wow.
On the 26th of September 2006, Peter Dupas was charged with Messina Halvarkas's murder.
Thank God.
And may I just have a little moment to bring myself in, like where I was alerted to this part of this story, where I was on the 26th of September 2006.
To The Bachelorette?
No, it was 2016.
Oh.
It wasn't that long ago, come on. The 26th of
40s.
September 2006, I was on work placement at Channel 10 News, and I was with court reporter Kate McGrath in court on something entirely different.
Glenn McGrath's sister?
Nope.
No.
When the entire court media pack, their phones started going mental and they all jumped up and ran out of the court, and it was when the news had come through that Peter Dupas was about to be charged with Messina Halvarkas's murder.
Wow.
It had been years and years of everyone knowing it was him and not being able to charge him.
Oh, wow.
And they were all being called by their, police informants and their court informants and George Halvarkas, Messina's dad, as well.
Wow.
So this is one of the reasons that this case has stuck with me so long. Obviously it happened in Melbourne when I was, when I was around and interested in the news, but then I was there that day when he was charged, and that was the moment that I always say, I was like, I want to do this for a living.
Yeah,
It felt like one of those really important stories to be part of.
Well, it is. It's huge. Like, I know the name Peter Dupas, and I've heard a little bit about him over time, but definitely know that name. Yeah. What year was it? 2006?
2006. Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's wild. Yeah. 2006 took that long.
Yes.
I was in year 10.
I was in year 12. I was not. So, he was charged with Messina's murder based on the evidence from Andrew Fraser.
Wow.
Which, again, I will do the Andrew Fraser story really soon, because it's hard to really talk about this very in depth without going into that, but I don't want to, because I want to say it. He pleaded not guilty.
Of course.
He was in prison. He is in prison until the day he dies without there ever being his appeal for the first.
Yeah, he's got 2 life sentences at this point. Yeah,
and he cannot appeal the first one. The appeal was denied. Yep. He cannot. There is no way he will ever get out of prison. And this C-bomb still pleaded not guilty. There's no need for you to.
Wow.
You're a sweet, sweet young boy, and you don't need such vile language in your ears. The trial for the murder of Messina Halvarkas ran for 22 days. On the 9th of July 2007, the jury was discharged on a legal technicality. In July 2007, the trial started for the murder of Messina Halvarkas. The prosecution witness, Andrew Fraser, described to the jury how Dupas attacked Halvarkas. He actually stood up. It's a really fascinating moment in the courtroom. He stood up in the witness box.
Are you allowed to do that?
What, stand up in the witness?
Yeah. You can. Yeah,
because he was
acted out.
He was, right. And he was acting out the way that the Dupas was looking at this knife.
I've never seen someone stand up before. That's interesting.
Well, again, we'll go into Andrew Fraser.
Okay, I'm interested in this. Yeah.
He was a lawyer after all, a barrister. So he described how Dupas had described attacking Messina Halvarkas. Dupas was found guilty of the murder of Messina Halvarkas on the 9th of August 2007.
Wow.
He appeared for a pre-sentencing hearing 8 days later. He was sentenced to his 3rd life sentence with no minimum term. The sentencing judge allowed one TV camera to record the sentencing of Dupas for Messina Halvarkas' murder, which is so rare in Australia.
One.
Yes,
that was
just
it.
one. Yep.
Wow.
Yep. And that was the same that was done for Aaron Patterson, the mushroom murderer, whose sentencing was filmed as well. For our overseas listeners, you might be going, well, in Australia there is no recording devices at all ever allowed in a courtroom. So this is how big this case was. Upon sentencing Dupas, the judge said, life means life.
Wow.
On the 10th of September that same year, lawyers for Dupas submitted an appeal on the basis that the verdict of guilty was unsafe and unsatisfactory. There's legal terms for saying he shouldn't have been found guilty. On the 17th of September, Dupas's appeal against the conviction was upheld. by a 2-1 majority. That means of the 3 judges in the appeal court, 2 of them said, okay, we'll allow the appeal to go ahead. The court ruled the directions of the judge on the original trial were inadequate. Now, I didn't look deep into why that was allowed, what the inadequate directions were. But the appeal went ahead, and on the 14th of October 2009, lawyers for Dupas argued that the proceedings against him should be stayed permanently, which means let go, based on the publicity surrounding the case, essentially saying he couldn't have been given a fair trial.
Right.
He was allowed a new trial. That trial date was set for the 7th of April 2010. On the 19th of November 2010, Peter Dupas was once again convicted of the murder of Messina Halvargas.
Oh, God.
After 3.5 days of deliberation this time.
Okay.
On the 26th of November 2010, Dupas was sentenced once again to life in prison without the possibility of
Thank
parole.
God.
He could no longer appeal this. There are other crimes that police believe Peter Dupas has committed.
Yeah.
The most notable is that of a 95-year-old woman named Kathleen Downs, who was murdered in her nursing home in Brunswick, Melbourne.
Wow.
She was stabbed to death at 6:30 a.m. on the 31st of December 1997. So this is when Peter Dupas was very much at large. Yeah. It was 1 month after Messina Halvargas' murder. Police investigations revealed that Peter Dupas had actually phoned the nursing home sometime before the murder. He was actually charged with Kathleen Downs' murder in February 2018.
Wow, 2018.
2018. But in 2019, prosecutors were forced to drop the case because the main witness had developed bone cancer and would be too sick to give evidence. That witness was Andrew Fraser.
Oh, my God.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
So he had also said that in prison there had been evidence. This is also in 2018. So
it's a long time after.
A long time after.
Yeah.
Andrew Fraser has taken upon himself to take this guy down even
further.
But isn't that so disappointing?
Yeah.
That Andrew Fraser got so sick that he couldn't give evidence and go through cross-examination in a trial.
Yeah.
So Kathleen Downs' family were, of course, disappointed but understood and are very thankful to the police and to Andrew Fraser for sticking with this and getting him charged. So, yes, the charges have been dropped, but it is very widely believed that Peter Dupas was Kathleen Downs' murderer.
I'm sure he
as well.
committed lots of other crimes.
Yeah.
I kind of want to like Andrew Fraser, but I need to listen to the episode before I make my decision.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There are also 2 other murders that he is a suspect, a prime suspect in. One was 47-year-old Helen McMahon, who was found beaten to death on a Rye beach on the 13th of February 1985. So a long time. Long time before Nicole Patterson's murder. Well, sorry.
85,
Yes. So Margaret Marr was the first murder, then Messina Halvargas, then Nicole Patterson.
Yes.
But the order in which he was charged and convicted was the other way around.
Yeah.
The location of Helen McMahon's murder was near where Dupas had raped the 21-year-old woman on the beach at Blairgowrie.
Right.
It is widely believed that this could have been Dupas's first murder, although it does officially remain unsolved because of not enough physical evidence. There was also a 31-year-old woman named Renita Brunton who, in the kitchen of her second-hand clothing store at a mall in Sunbury, was killed in 1993. Investigators found that Brunton had been stabbed 106 times.
Oh, my God.
There is also, there are so many more crimes that he may have committed, but there is only one more that I want to bring up because this is fucked. And it was in October 1969.
Oh.
So right back at the start, very, very, very start of his vending. A mortuary at the Austin Hospital in Melbourne was broken into.
Oh, my God.
So the morgue.
Yeah.
The bodies of 2 elderly women were mutilated using a pathologist's knife. One body contained a strange wound inflicted with a knife to the area of the thigh. Police believe that Peter Dupas was involved in the break-in as the wounds inflicted matched that of his later murder victim, Nicole Patterson.
Oh, wow. That's disgusting.
And that, Sammy Peterson, is an overview.
Yeah.
Certainly by no means an in-depth look into the vile, psychopathic, disgusting, I don't even want to say human, that is Peter Norris Dupas.
Gee, thank you for telling me that. We have to wrap things up quickly, but we're going to come back in a moment and we're going to do the mailbag section to kind of shake off some of these feelings of the psychopath.
I just want to check how you're feeling after
that.
Yeah,
it's horrendous in the correct use of the word horrendous. It is, Peter Dupas is, someone who I've always kind of looked at as this horrifying villain, and a psychopath.
It's one of the most infamous names in Australian history, certainly in Victoria and in Melbourne. I don't know if it's as infamous elsewhere, but it is certainly.
And a story I know that you've been fascinated by for a long time as well. Yeah.
I apologise to everyone who has got this far on how sickening that is. I mean, it's not my place to apologise. He's the CUNT.
Yep.
But
all this spelling again.
All this spelling. Yeah. You did the maths for me earlier. Now I do the spelling.
But no, it's an incredible overview of Peter Dupas. So thank you for telling me and us that today.
And I'm going to go home right now from this record and start writing my episode on Andrew Fraser.
You need to. Thank you so much.